I'm Kahja Elliott, and I'm a food enthusiast. Bronx born and raised, ATL made, Bay Area becoming. And I talk to people about how they create community through food in the Bay and beyond. Welcome to the As Told By podcast. Welcome back to this week's episode of the As Told By podcast. I'm in my home turf, home territory today with a Bay Area native, self-described as a chef by trade and a foodie by passion, cooking in kitchens for almost 15 years and traveling to even more countries in search of inspiring cuisine. He specializes in fusion gastronomy, reimagining classics with modern techniques, flavors, and ingredients from around the world. Leading the KitchenSync teaching kitchen at Google's San Francisco campus, he serves as executive sous chef, sharing his knowledge with employees and collaborating on the process of preparing, cooking, and enjoying a shared meal. Welcome, Chef Randy Wilkes, to the As Told By podcast.
Well, thank you so much for having me and interviewing me for this, and it's an honor to be here with you.
Absolutely. Now, normally my career outside of work and my career at my day job don't cross, but food is the intersection, so I'm so glad to be here to do this.
Absolutely.
I've taken some of these classes and I had a really good time, so we'll jump into it.
Awesome.
All right, I'll start you with the signature question for the podcast. What kind of food family are you from?
Food family.
Yeah, like, are you from a family where, you grew up cooking, you grew up in restaurants, a big family where there's a lot of presence in the kitchen, or it's like kids in there, get a sandwich and, go for what you know?
Okay, so kind of the reason where I come from food, how I come from food. That's a really good one because actually I started really in the kitchen at about 6 years old with my mom. She was very, very adamant that she teaches us how to cook, how to take care of ourselves. And I took an interest to that right away. And I was playing around with all sorts of things. I started off with sauces and then graduated to making dinners for the family and everything by myself. And that was just it stemmed from just the know-how from my mom. She taught me how to hold a knife. She taught me how to cook on cast iron skillets and all the old school
Was she
things.
a chef?
She worked in some restaurants before when her parents first came over to the country. She's an immigrant from China, and they had a Chinese restaurant, and she would work in the Chinese restaurant to help them out. And that is kind of she had a little bit of that experience in there, and she kind of gave that to me. And and ever since then, I've always been kind of competitive with my other siblings. My brother in particular, he was very into food as well. So me and him would always just go back and forth and who could do something better in the kitchen. And it just became a big passion of ours to be in the kitchen.
All right. So mom started you off right with knife skills, no less.
Yeah.
All right. Your path was laid early, huh? So I know you and your work from my participation in the KitchenSync program here, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But can you talk about how your culinary journey led you to a corporate space?
Oh boy, yeah. So a little bit about my culinary journey. I actually never really wanted to be a chef. I knew I was passionate about cooking and I always loved cooking. But I was looking at how the chef's hours were all the time, and they would always work weekends, they would always work nights. So ultimately I was like, I kind of want my weekends and I want my nights. So I never went into the industry until later on. And that was post, I think, 2008, after the economic downturn. I was actually laid off from my previous position or jobs, which I was just a sales associate for bamboo flooring and stuff like that. And I was miserable when I was doing all the other work, and I was like, I should just go into something that I'm passionate about. And I tried to get into the restaurant industry. by going up and down the peninsula here in the Bay Area and just knocking on all the cafes, all the restaurants, all the places, seeing if they had a position open that I can just get my foot in the door. Ultimately, most people were like, "No, you need some experience." I was like, "Well, I know how to cook." But
My
also,
mother
like,
taught
yeah,
me knife
my
skills.
mother taught me knife skills, and little did I know that that didn't go very far in the industrial or in the restaurant industry. So I eventually landed myself a position at Nordstrom Cafe in Hillsdale,
Okay.
and I started there as a prep cook dishwasher just to help out during the holidays. And I was just so like eager to absorb everything that I could learn in every single position there. Um, and I helped out during the holidays. They were just about to say like, okay, your time is up with us after, like January, February came rolling around, and I was like joking with them, hey, if you guys have any other positions, like even front of house, I'm willing to help out there. And they're like, wait, hold on, got you. Um, so I ended up doing all those positions in the Nordstrom cafes. So I was a server, I was a busser, I was front of house cashier even, and just working my way through that system and understanding how restaurants are operating, especially in corporate setting. So that
Yeah.
was my first restaurant position was in a corporate dining environment. It was all scratch cooking, so I got to learn all about the basics there, and I had really great mentors during my time at Nordstrom restaurants, and I ended up opening up their bistro in Palo Alto when they first opened. So
I
we
didn't even know they had a bistro.
yeah, they had a bistro with pizza ovens and fresh made pizzas. We were tossing pizzas all day. But I was like the assistant manager when I went over there slash sous chef. So they needed some help in the kitchen, and they're relying on me to be able to do all that stuff. So I did wore two hats there, helped open up the bistro, and we became like the number one uh, bistro in the company at that time. Um, and stayed there for a while until I felt like I needed to learn a little bit more, and I ended up transitioning into the coffee bar portion of Nordstrom division.
You
So
really did do a little bit of
I
everything,
did a
huh?
little bit of everything.
Okay.
I wanted to expose myself to as much as I could, understand like P&Ls, understand the how to run a business. And I would really, really push myself every which way. I actually worked with a friend of mine at Nordstrom, like just we met at Nordstrom, and he had moved and started working at Trader Vic's.
Okay.
So Trader Vic's, if you don't know, is the origin of the Mai Tai. So they invented the Mai Tai in 1934. But my friend Dion, he had actually gotten a job with Trader Vic's for a little bit, and he called me and he was like, "Hey, we got a sous chef position open over here. Do you want to, come join us?" And I thought about it, and I was like, "Yeah." And what they hired me on for it was the corporate executive sous chef. So I was doing a lot of the worldwide menus. So there are Trader Vic's in Dubai, Trader Vic's in Bahrain, Trader Vic's, around the world. In Japan, we worked on all the menus for those specific regions, and helped distribute that while running the Trader Vic's here. So that was an experience that I've never felt, and that was also sort of corporate, but not so corporate because it was privately owned.
Yeah.
But they were set up kind of like a corporate dining situation. So that is where I learned a lot of plating techniques, fine dining things, worked with a bunch of things that I've never worked with before, world ingredients. And it was extremely fun to be able to gain that experience there for several years. And eventually the manager or the owners of the Brickyard ended up calling me and was like, "Hey, we're working on something special. Do you want to join us for this?" And I was like, "Okay."
Okay.
okay, let me try this. Oh boy, that was an experience of a lifetime. So I went to this to meet them, and they said they were opening a catering division. They were opening several opportunities there, and they wanted me to run everything.
You
I was
certainly had done everything by that point.
by that point I was ready to
You
do
were
it.
well
I was well
qualified.
qualified. So I said okay, um, and this was again another opportunity for me to challenge myself and prove to myself that I could do it.
You were
And
burning the
I
candle at
was
both ends.
going 24/7, 7 days a week. I literally did not take any days off for over a year, and I was working nonstop. I was literally taking calls at 12 a.m. at night for some reason because I didn't know how to say no or set up my boundaries. So that was another work in progress that I needed to learn eventually, but that job nearly ended my career
Wow.
as far as like never wanting to do this again.
Yeah.
And that friend of mine that was at Trader Vic's, he had actually left Trader Vic's before I left there and worked up in Seattle, came back down here, and then ended up as one of the catering managers here at this campus in San Francisco, Google. And he was like, "Hey, we're hiring a sous chef over here. You want to come over work with me again?" I was like,
Sure.
"Dion, yeah, this is an opportunity for me to take a step back and actually like refocus my person. Like I needed that time to be able to step back and say, I'm coming in, doing my work, and then being able to have my nights, have my weekends back, and actually make connections with my family again, because everybody was missing me for over 2 years of doing all that to myself and running myself into the ground and never being available.
I call that do your 8 and skate.
Do your 8 and skate.
Yes.
Oh, oh,
You can
wow.
steal that one.
I will take that.
Yes.
I will take that.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I interviewed for the position to be the executive sous chef over at the 345 building here
Okay.
on Spear, at the W6 Cafe, where we served over 2,000 people a day. And they trained me up, and I got to really feel, I've worked on corporate level on the small scale with the Nordstrom restaurants.
This is massive.
This is so much bigger than anything else I've ever done. I've never worked at a place that served over 2,000 people a day. So coming into this space was a like drinking from a fire hose in a way that all the information was coming at me. But overwhelming, it was not. I was able, the position here had enough work to do, had enough work to keep me going and keep me occupied and engaged, and really, really honing basically my teaching skills, because it allowed me to actually have the time to spend with the line, being able to teach them, okay, this is how you want to cook certain things. This is how you want to do this, in order to get the best flavor, or to make sure that it doesn't, overcook or anything like that. So those were the moments that I really like started thinking about, hey, I might be really good at teaching people. And I had heard that they were building out a teaching kitchen here in this location in the One Market building. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep that there. It was like a few years ahead. And I just kept on working, and eventually, COVID hit.
Yeah.
I had actually just done my first pop-up actually right as COVID hit.
Oh, man.
I did a really incredible pop-up that I was super proud of the menu. We did like 8 courses. And that was a really fun experience. And that happened right at the beginning of COVID. Everyone was like, "Hey, did you hear about this thing going on?" I was like, hopefully,
It'll pass.
It'll pass. It'll be just a couple weeks.
Yeah, pass in about 2 years.
Oh yeah. And then a year later, we're still working from home. And that is when I started hearing that they were actually completing the build out here. So, I kept my ears open. I was like, okay, the second I hear that position open, I'm going to apply for that. So as we were reopening all the cafes on this campus, I was helping out with OMP or One Market, One Maritime Plaza. And then I helped out with 121, helped them open up, and went back to W6 for a little bit and bounced around just to kind of help all the cafes open up smoothly. And then that's when they opened up the position for the teaching kitchen here.
It's time for you to make your move.
And it was time. It was that time where I was like, okay, this is something that I want. I want it for myself, because I saw the way that a lot of people teach, and it felt to me that there was something missing for a lot of teaching, culinary teachers as far as that goes. So the way I approach it is, what can we learn about the dish? How scientifically, what are the reasons why we cook things the way we do?
That sounds America's Test Kitchen-ish.
It's very America's Test Kitchen-ish. The inspiration actually came from Alton Brown.
Okay.
Going back to my childhood now, that was one of the shows that we would always watch every single day, was Good Eats. Good Eats. And Alton Brown was like a huge inspiration for teaching, because he broke down everything and visually put it up on a board, or gave you illustrations, or gave you some science behind why. And that's what I thought was missing for a lot of people. And I kind of gleaned a lot of like how he taught in that show too. And I just kind of took that and said, okay, now how can I do it for myself and be myself, and not Alton Brown, but also like get people engaged in how to learn about cooking.
Yeah. Well, you did that. You ran with that, because I have to say, it's such a cool concept, and it's definitely probably my favorite perk. I've been to the KitchenSync teaching kitchen in Mountain View, and then I've been to a couple of classes at this one. But talk about the global footprint, because I know that there are these teaching kitchens on Google campuses around the world.
Yeah, there's 14 teaching kitchens around the world. This one was number 13. So we were the second to last teaching kitchen that opened up around the world. And they have some in Japan, they have some in Zurich, they have some in London. So just all around. But there's only 14 of them. And that's a pretty exclusive, like, group of individuals who are extremely capable. And this program is a lot more than just teaching people life skills, although it is at the core what we love to do. But I think at the core of what this program's about is about bringing people together through food. Yeah. And that is secretly like one of the things that I love about this position, is creating community, allowing people to meet another person that they necessarily wouldn't have met before, right? Yeah. So like they're all coming from different departments from all around, and they get to talk to each other, and then they start like, hey, you're working on something. I'm working on this thing. This could actually work in a mutual benefit. So there's a lot of crosstalk. There's a lot of, moonshots, as they call it. That can propel.
People are here cooking and pitching at the same time.
Exactly. But not only that, but you also get a sense of like friends and family here now. As we build up our core of like regular people who come in here and take these classes. They get to start recognizing each other and being like developing actual friendships outside of these walls. So they're gaining a little bit of life skills, a little bit of friendships, and a lot of just community that comes around here. And that's what keeps me going every single day, and really trying to come up with really cool classes that will be extraordinary, or something that can spark a conversation.
Yeah. Y'all do a really good job of that. I think what you were mentioning before about just the inception of corporate dining as you came into this career, and corporate dining isn't new, but it's not all that old, right?
Yeah.
From an industry perspective, When did you start to see a shift where chefs who had the training to go into, any fine dining space start to opt to come this direction instead?
I think it was a lot of chefs have experienced something similar to what I experienced as far as the burnout goes. Out there, you're always trying to do so much and try to do work yourself to the bone in order to make something happen. And a lot of restaurants take an enormous backing to be able to do. Just to have a restaurant be around or stick around in the city
It's hard.
more than a year is really hard. 5 years is amazing. After that, they finally become a profitable business, like after the 5 year mark. And that's how hard it is in the restaurant industry. And I think COVID made that a little bit harder as well.
Yeah.
But people were, chefs, really, really good chefs were all getting burnt out because of the demands of the lifestyle. Being a chef, you would wake up at 7 a.m. or 6 a.m. You would get into the kitchen. You would make sure that all your prep cooks are on par. You're checking all the details, all the temperatures of the refrigerators, making sure that all the systems are running. So you're constantly running around, constantly getting people coming up to you and asking you to do something or help them with this and help them with that. And then you're trying to focus on being able to put together the menu and make sure that all the ingredients are there. You taste everything just to make sure that it tastes up to your standards. And then, like, you're doing this on your feet all day for 12, sometimes 14, sometimes 16 hours in a day till after dinner service. And it's an extraordinary feat to be able to do that. And it's a very, I guess that would burn a lot of people out doing that, 7 a.m. to 12 at night, and then finally finishing and walking out the doors and feeling like I'm gonna do it again tomorrow.
Yeah, it would burn me out. It would burn most people out.
Yeah, it takes a special breed and I think a special passion in order to follow through and continue, enduring the pain that it takes to do real restaurants, real fine dining and stuff like that. Without the financial backing, that's why a lot of chefs would end up in corporate dining, because they could still be creative. They can still be having fun, but less of the backbreaking work has to be done.
Yeah. And still produce a really good food program. One of the campuses, it doesn't exist anymore, but it used to blow me away all the time with their food, was Pausa. This was on the Quad campus. Shout out to the Quad. It used to be down in Mountain View, but that campus was like rivaling restaurants with their food. And I remember when I first started working, I was like, who's paying for all this? Like, my mind was just so blown at the level of where the food program was, with what folks could just pull up in, any given day and have for breakfast or lunch. And the same thing once KitchenSync got on my radar. There are all kinds of classes going on here. I walked in here and there are macarons that are made with like some caramel that's infused with butternut squash, all kinds of things. The class roster always feels super diverse and relevant. So how do y'all decide what classes you're going to put on?
That's a great question. And a lot of it comes stemming from our core program. Our core classes consist of knife skills, consist of learning how to, make fresh pastas, learning techniques. And there is a class that we do every quarter that's called Code for Cooks. And Code for Cooks is really one of the core program. Like, this is the cornerstone of like what the teaching kitchens are about. It's about helping people learn how to cook from A to Z. So understanding flavors, understanding taste, understanding all those little components that play with each other. So on our taste, we got 5 taste buds that we can taste: sweet, salty, sour, bitter, and umami. And in these classes, we learn how to adjust or help each one balance each other out. And one of the things that we teach is like how to hit all five flavors on one bite,
Mm.
and that will really really ignite your brain and let your it lets your brain know that you're using 100% of your palate, and then
It's igniting my brain just sitting here hearing it.
yeah, and your brain starts being happy. It sends out more endorphins, more serotonin, more dopamine, all the feel good chemicals when you get that perfect bite that satisfies all those flavor profiles.
Mhm.
Um, so going back to the class that we teach, it's Code for Cooks, and Code for Cooks is, we start off there, finding that five flavors, the balance there. In the interview to get this position, they asked me to demo a nut butter and jelly sandwich to be the first thing that I taught, and then the second thing that I taught was to be something of my own cooking.
Wait a minute. Were they asking you to make the jelly and the
They
nut
were
butter?
they were asking me to just teach how to make a nut butter and jelly sandwich, and they just wanted to see. I think that's part of the whole thing. They want to see how you teach.
Okay.
Even something as simple as a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, how you go about teaching it.
Okay. I thought they had you in here canning. I was about to say, wow, that's an interview.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was a really fun one because I got to like, think about it a little bit more. I mean, it's simple, so I didn't want to stick with like being simple
Mhm.
about it. So I ended up making my own pistachio butter, and then
You better
doing.
come on and be ready. Be ready to meet the moment.
Yeah. So I talked about the history of the sandwich. To be honest, like I went into the whole Earl of Sandwich and how he was at a gaming table, poker table, or card table, and
Mhm.
he wanted two pieces of bread and his meat to be held in between the two pieces of bread so he can play cards and eat his sandwich at the same time.
Mhm.
And yeah, that was one little fun fact that I was able to throw in there and just kind of like gain everybody's attention during that interview process. And then the second subject that I taught after the nut butter and jelly sandwich was the perfect pesto. So
Mm.
I that was what I coded on that dish that I did for everybody, and that was the dish that got the most incredible feedback out of the night. And what it is it's a pesto reimagined. So the original pesto out there, it is just like garlic.
Mhm.
You got basil.
Mhm.
You got cheese, some like aged pecorino or romano or even Parmesan cheese works.
Mhm.
And then you got your pine nuts or almonds. Sometimes they would do whatever they had on hand.
Mhm.
And then olive oil. Simple ingredients,
Simple enough.
just a couple of ingredients. And one of the things that I talked about in my interview was that there's a component missing that you're not tasting on your tongue when you get all those ingredients together.
Hmm.
And the original pesto did not have this element that you can taste. And so I explained like, okay, so you got umami from the cheese, you got salts from the cheese, you got a bitterness from the pine nuts and from the olive oil. So you got three things right there:
Mhm.
cheese, salt, umami, bitter. Four things.
No sweet.
There's a little bit of sweet found in the basil,
Okay, I can see that. Okay.
touch of sweetness. There's not so much, but there's also some sweetness in the cheese too. So there's a little bit of like compound ingredients in there.
Mhm.
But that's only four of the flavors. We're missing one flavor there.
Are you going to citrus?
Citrus.
How did I know you were
Sour.
going to citrus?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you see like by adding an element that isn't normally there, can make it the perfect bite, can
Mm.
make it the perfect sauce. So what I showed is actually how to replace the cheese, and I did miso in there. So miso, whenever you taste miso, if you taste it side by side with Parmesan, it almost tastes like the aftertaste comes through, and it's very very similar.
Yes.
It's extremely similar, and when I did that replacement with the miso in there instead of the Parmesan, I not only changed the dietary restrictions for a lot of people who don't
Mhm.
eat cheese.
Mhm.
That opens it up to a lot of people. And then adding a form of sour to the full on flavor profile. I'm not saying Italians did it wrong, because they finished their dishes beautifully with tomatoes or sun-dried tomatoes or something acidic, but the sauce in itself is not a complete full bite, and that's what I went on to explain in the interview process.
You did the remix.
I did the remix, exactly. and that got me the job. That got me the most incredible feedback on that pop-up that we did. So like that it's just so fascinating, like with food in general and cultural elements, that you look into the history of things and they just come out to you, and you know, it's a fun thing.
Yeah, and sometimes you're surprised by it. I just recently, in the last 6 months, found out about that miso parmesan connection through a recipe from Ghetto Gastro for a miso cacio pepe.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, I didn't think these things went together, but when I cooked the recipe, I was like, oh, this is the cheat code.
That is a cheat code.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, spot on, spot on. You know, you have all this knowledge, and then you come in and you cook. And Google employees, you know, it's a vast cultural group of people. And, you know, it's a group of people with access. And so they aren't really always coming in green as far as culinary knowledge when they walk in. What is your approach to structuring these classes so that there's something for the people who are novices and for the people who are experts?
That's a great thing to ask, because I have a feeling like everybody coming into a class, let's say if I'm aiming at a cookie class, right? Most people can throw together a batch of cookies, no problem. It's about learning the little details behind it. So this cookie class, I make into an expert level cookie class, while giving beginners the ability to partake and understand those principles. So like our Left Coast Cookies class,
those cookies are good.
Those cookies are dynamite.
Yes.
But explaining to people like what each thing that you're doing, what the reason is behind it, that can make a beginner level class into an expert level class and be friendly for beginners to understand. So finding those compound ways to be able to bring to life a dish. So for instance, with the cookie, right? We talk a little bit about creaming the butter and the sugar together, and that's something that I hone in. And a lot of people do it for desserts and for cake making and for cookies. But what happens when you're not able to incorporate air into the butter or cream the butter? What does the air even do? You know, a lot of people don't know why they're creaming the butter and the sugar together and how it's supposed to be done or how long it's supposed to be done, because they read instructions and it says cream your butter and sugar together. I'm people. And
doing it by instructions.
You do it real quick and you're like, is this good enough? And at home, maybe your cookie recipe turns out good, but could it be better? And when you get into the class here, I talk a little bit about the science behind why we want to incorporate the air. How much air are we looking to incorporate? And that will elevate the beginner level to the novice or to the expert level.
Okay.
So learning how air actually expands when it gets hot, right? And that creates crumb, that creates texture in the cookie, and that creates the crumbliness of the cookie. So if you don't have enough air in there, your cookies are going to be denser. They're going to be cracker-like. If you are using brown butter for cookies, you can't aerate the brown butter and get air incorporation. So what do you do there? So then we get into chemical leaveners and how that helps. So using baking soda and baking powder and understanding the difference between the two, which a lot of people don't understand the difference between.
Find out in the wrong time. And it's like something with these cookies are off.
But yeah, we try to take the classes that we do. We always want to look at, is this easy enough to do at home by yourself? And also, how can we take those, people who come into the class, I already know how to do cookies, or I already know how to do a stir fry or a fried rice, but make it more complex, make it more attuned to bringing up people's levels. So That happens in a lot of different classes that we do. So we absolutely love the science behind it, and I think bringing the science behind every dish, no matter if it's simple or it's a difficult dish, there's elements in there that anyone can do,
Yeah, you
and
got
everyone
all
can do.
levels,
Yeah.
all levels. I wonder, is there, as I'm listening to you talk, it's particularly when we talked earlier about the traditions that we've heard and you've experienced of the restaurant industry, do you think there's a feeling that this is like an easier road, right? If you come out of culinary school and you come directly into corporate dining, which is a complete possibility at this point, is there like a feeling in the restaurant industry of you went straight to the cushy assignment, huh? Because this is a bit more of a controlled environment than a restaurant. Is that a feeling that's pervasive in the industry?
Yeah, I would say so. Like
Y'all just mad because y'all still working on the weekends?
that's exactly it. Like I'm a little salty about that. No, I wish I would have gone into this industry, like into the corporate dining. Well, I did kind of, but it wasn't as cushy as coming into a place like the Google campus. And the Google campus is just well organized, and that's the beauty about corporate. They have enough people to do the tasks that you need, whereas in the restaurants, they're trying to cut corners, cut costs, cut everything,
Yeah,
and margins. And guess who's gonna pick up all the slack? The chef or the people that are working overtime 12, 14-hour days.
Yeah. This is mixed opinions because me, all of us love to be able to go to a restaurant on the weekends and at nights and all the things. But I can completely see how, the advent of the tech companies and just all of the companies that have these offerings for their employees become another option for folks. And, look, life is hard. If you can get in somewhere that's a little cushy, it's okay. There'll be other struggles to be had, I promise. And to that point, I'll ask you one final question. We may have some aspiring chefs listening. If this is a direction that they might want to go in, what are one or two specific considerations that they should keep in mind? And when I say a direction they want to go into, I mean cooking in a corporate dining environment.
Cooking in a corporate dining versus a restaurant.
Yeah.
So I would say there's a couple of considerations, because not everybody who comes into the corporate environment wants to stay in the corporate environment. There are a lot of roadblocks, to say, like in a corporate environment, on being able to be more creative, right? So any new dishes have to be tested. They have to go through the channels. They have to go get approved. And this process takes some time to be able to do certain things. And then in restaurants, you just get in there and you do something and you get to create something. So that's kind of the one contrasting thing that I would look at if I'm coming out of culinary school. Like how passionate are you, first off, to be in the industry? And if you are passionate enough to do the 14-hour days, do the 16-hour days, to learn and to experience life in the kitchen and fully go out on creativity, by all means do it. If you are looking to kind of sustain yourself and go for longevity, corporate fine dining actually is a great space that you can be able to have a life outside of the kitchen, and also a work-life balance in a way. So I think that's what it comes down to, is work-life balance, or more creativity, more passion, and more, I guess, accolades, right, outside of corporate dining.
Okay. Depends on where you are in your life when it's finding you.
Exactly.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, I would love to wrap us up. At the time this episode comes out, it's going to be the week before the holiday.
Oh, wow.
I believe a week or two. Yeah, the week before the holiday. So I would love to wrap us up with 5 holiday questions.
Ooh.
These will be like, rapid fire questions.
Rapid fire.
Ready?
Okay. Let's go.
Wet brine or dry brine?
Dry brine.
Okay. Buy shredded cheese or shred it yourself? I feel like I know the answer to this.
Shred it yourself.
Oh, boy. People are rinsing cheese. Have you seen that online?
That makes
to get
sense.
the potato starch out.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I'm like, if you're gonna do that, you might
as well shred your own
cheese. Adding stuff.
You're putting wet cheese in your stuff.
I know. It's like, yeah, no. Finish this sentence. People don't know this, but if you burn blank, it actually can be salvaged.
If you burn toast.
Scrape, scrape, scrape.
Scrape, scrape, scrape. Lots of butter.
There you go. A cooking tool or a cooking tool or a small appliance you wouldn't make it through the holidays without.
I would make it through the holidays without.
You would not make it through the holidays without this.
Cooking appliance. I'm going to say one of the most underrated tools that you can have in your kitchen is a zester. Lemon, it's just one of the microplanes.
Yeah.
Adding a little bit of citrus zest to whatever dishes that you're doing will brighten everything up and give you so much more flavor and impact in the dish. I think a lot of people need that in, when plating or just, elevating a dish.
Okay. For me, I'm going to, first of all, let me tell you a fun fact about me. I am a QVC addict. I have all of the kitchen things from QVC, and I have this little mini pull chopper that you put things in, and it's like you pull a cord,
You're trying to start a chainsaw.
Yes, but every time you pull the cord, the blade spins, so like you can dice onions. They're not in your hand. You're not crying, and with about 6 good pulls, you got to dice. Now, for knife cuts, sorry, there's all kind of pieces in there. But you get the job done.
Yeah.
I cannot get through the holidays without that. Need it. And here's the last one. What's the most creative thing you've made with holiday leftovers?
Oh, the holiday leftover dumpling. I think that is a must. If you have never made a dumpling before, you should make a dumpling after the holidays because you get the pick of all those things. The cranberry turkey dumpling is fantastic. Do a little cranberry sauce, you mix it in, chop it up with your leftover turkey, throw in some stuffing in there and mix it up. And then guess what? You can stuff that in some dough and sear that dough. And oh my goodness. And have a gravy dipped dumpling. That is incredible.
I would not have thought of that. That's the first I've heard of that. That is very creative. Yes. Okay. Well, listen, y'all make sure you siphon off some leftovers so that you have an opportunity to make some Thanksgiving dumplings. This has been so much fun. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for interviewing me and having me do this. This has been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, normally this is when I ask people to tell folks where they can find out more about the program, but the majority of people who listen to this, unfortunately, you won't experience KitchenSync because you have to be a Google employee to do that. But where can people go find out more about you? About
me? Well, I'm out there on Instagram.
Okay.
BadPanda9 is my tag. My ID. And I just come follow me. I post some fun, entertaining videos or educational videos, and every once in a while some fun things that I do in the kitchen. Nice. I will make sure that I share that with the show notes. If you want to keep up with me in between episodes, you can find me at kayinthebay.com or on Instagram as well at HeyKayInTheBay. That has been this week's episode of the As Told by podcast from the good old Google campus in San Francisco. I'll see y'all on the next episode.